On TV, on radio, and on your smartphone. This is Talk TV.
Good evening, men and women, boys and girls from all around the world. I'm Mr. Johnny Rotten, the most uncensored and uncircumcised man in Britain. And I'm here live and unleashed. You have been warned.
Piers Morgan Uncensored tonight in a special Jubilee show. We commemorate Her Majesty the Queen's 70 years of service. I'll be joined by a stellar lineup of guests, including former Sex Pistols frontman John Lydon and the Queen's jockey, Frankie Dettori. It's been an amazing day, and it was incredibly moving, actually, and very emotional in many ways to think that here's this lady, 96 years old, who came out after a lot of health issues, came out on the balcony twice to an absolutely roaring ovation from a packed Mall. And she had a beaming smile and looked like she was loving every minute of it with her family there. I'm joined by Brian Blessed. When you're one-on-one with the Queen, Brian, what's she like?
Well, I mean, she finds me very naughty.
Well, we all do.
I mean, I mean, when she gave me the OB, what did she say? What did the Queen say? And she, I mean, she said, you know, she said, Mr. Blessed, you know, I should have wisdom of this. I do believe that people have told me that you imitate me. I said, no, I don't. She said, you're such a liar.
The Queen called you a liar?
And so that... And I then talked about her son, Charles, who I work with. I'm an ambassador for him, saving animals all over the world. He's terrific. He and Camilla are bloody marvellous people. A tremendous. He's a green. We need him.
You did actually try. Didn't you actually try and buy Camilla from him?
Well, I've always had it.
Well, I'm going to play you a damning clip where you literally tell the future Queen Consort that you tried to buy her. Watch this.
How are you, young lady? I did say to your husband, can I buy you? And he was trying to work out the price. Have a free.
And she replied, "You can have her for free."
Yes, you can have it free. I was doing the Chitty Bang Bang, and she came backstage, and it was Christmas, and I was made Father Christmas. I was naked underneath my costume, and so forth. And she came and sat on my knee, and she was, darling, she said to her husband.
Camilla sat on your knee?
Yes. And she said at the theatre where we were doing it, they'd had at Drury Lane, not Drury Lane, the other one, Palladium. And she sat on my knee and said, and she, darling, she picked up the phone to Charles. Darling, I'm here, darling. I'm with Father Christmas, which is Brian Blessed, and I do believe he's not got any underwear on. And I'm sat on his knee, and he wants to buy me. And can you work out a price? And he said, hello, Brian. He said, no. Oh, she's worthless, nothing. You can have her for nothing. Oh, thank you very much. He says, I can have you for nothing. Oh, good, I'm yours. And so I've always had this wild relationship. As I said, working with him and doing...
And what does she mean, Brian, what does she mean to this country? And what did today mean about Britain? Yeah, I mean, when you watch the pomp and the pageantry and this little old lady commanding the attention of the entire world, what does it say about her and the country?
Can you give me another 2 minutes?
Yes.
I want to emphasise what royalty is. Now, I was in Henry V with Ken Branagh. And Henry V was then, it was then produced in Japan. And there was a big premiere with the entire power of Japan government attending the first night of Henry V, Ken Branagh's Henry V, with me as the Duke of Exeter. And I was going to open this whole thing with Princess Anne. Now, Princess Anne, I'm a war baby. I'm going into, you know, Tojo. I'm going into, you know, the Japanese powerhouse. We arrived there, we watched the film, and with Princess Anne, and then she and I have to go and meet the entire length and breadth of all these ambassadors. And there also was His Highness, the Emperor and the Empress there. the power of Japan. I'm a coal miner's son. And Anne, really, I did flirt with, and she loves it all the time. And she was saying, I said, when are we going to get married? Oh, stop it, stop it. What are we going to, you can marry me any time you want.
Is there any member of the royal family you haven't tried it on with, Brian?
I'm very, very expensive. She said, and said, I don't know who they are. I've got to introduce you. And she said, oh, we'll ask them who they are. This was the power of Japan. I mean, in front of us. And we went along asking who they were. And they were shaking. I'm talking about Japan. They ruled the world then. They were shaking at meeting Princess Anne.
Isn't that amazing?
And so one must be careful. One must acknowledge the power that the royal family have in their beatific power and their sacred power and their bravery, the effect they have on the world.
Yes, I agree.
More than any government.
Yes.
People... It transcends.
But what does the Queen in particular, Brian, say about this country? What are the values and virtues she represents, which I think are the great in Great Britain in many ways? But what does she mean to you in terms of values?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I tend to go to Shakespeare all the time. King John is never done. And there's a character in it called the Bastard, Shakespeare's King John. And in the end, the British forces are retreating. And the Dauphin is going to invade Britain. And there's King John, and there's the Bastard, who is the son of Coeur de Lion, a great hero. And he says, come, come, come to the Emperor, join me. At last, what was I going to say? The Dauphin rages at our heels. But England's princes have come home again. Come the four corners of the world, and we shall shake them. England never shall sit at the proud foot of a conqueror. I feel the Queen is our mother, is sacred, omnipotent, and greatly loved by the Creator. And this she displays. And she also employs the maximum effect with a minimum of effort. And that is grace.
It is.
She has grace. And we must all pray for her and so forth. We are so damn lucky to have such a unique, wonderful woman.
Yeah, we are.
And we need her back, and today we need her more than ever.
Yeah.
She's got to go on. We need her.
She has, and it's obviously she's having a lot of problems with her health, but you'd expect that at her age, and she's a remarkable woman. We wish her all the very best. I also wish your wife all the very best, Brian. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Please send her all our best wishes on the show. It's lovely to see you.
Sorry.
A great day to be British, isn't
It's
it?
nice to be here. Lovely.
It's a great day to be British, I think. It's time to be proud of our country today.
That's right. We're doing damn well.
We are.
We're bloody marvellous.
We are.
I've been president of the national parks for 7 years. Our parks are a great success story.
Best in the world.
I'm sick of the criticism. We're doing marvellously.
I agree.
And it's a time to rejoice, and to rejoice in her health.
I agree. Brian Blessing, great to see you. Thank you very much. Uncensored next have abandoned royal duties, but will Harry and Meghan try and steal the royal limelight from the Queen at the Platinum Jubilee? We're discussing that with royal photographer Arthur Edwards, who's written them an open letter. abandon royal duties, but will Harry and Meghan try and steal the royal spotlight over this Jubilee weekend? Royal photographer Arthur Edwards, royal editor of Vanity Fair Katie Nicholl, and novelist Bonnie Greer give me their thoughts. You've written a piece about Meghan and Harry. I'm going to come to in a moment. I want to start, though, by talking about this remarkable BBC documentary last night, because I honestly think it was the best royal documentary I've ever watched.
And me too. I thought it was fantastic. And the king, I mean, the way he was playing with his grandchildren, I mean, that man was always considered like to be a stutterer and very, you know, didn't want the job, but my God, he came across as a fantastic, and of course the Duke of Edinburgh, you know, absolutely the slide on the royal yacht with the kids. I mean, it was unbelievable, and the Queen shot a lot of that footage herself.
Well, that was the great thing, wasn't it, Katie? Was that this footage was raw footage taken by the royals of themselves. These were family home videos, which we've never really seen.
You have, and you got to really see them as a family. I think it dispelled so many of the myths about the Queen. Actually, she's so often seen, certainly in those early days, of a mother who was quite aloof. Well, she was full of love for her children. There was nothing staged for the cameras. And it was wonderful to see her and the young Princess Margaret interacting and playing. And obviously they
I love Margaret and the Queen together interacting, even when they were very young and then teenagers and then a bit later.
Real little thespians.
They obviously had a very close, sort of quite mischievous relationship with each other, right?
Yeah, and I think you got to see that dynamic of what they called we four. The Queen Mother and the King and these two young daughters enjoying the most wonderful life. But I think you're right about it being the best royal documentary. I mean, people might remember Elizabeth R and the royal family. Probably not.
I know some of it's been... The power of this was the simplicity of the home footage and then the Queen now narrating back over her own life.
And then the pictures of Charles and Anne as tots, you know.
Amazing.
And I mean, I work a lot with Prince Charles. And then I think about him like that, you know, and it was just brilliant.
And there was a great moment when they played a clip about her view of the Platinum Jubilee. Let's listen to this.
I don't know that anyone had invented the term platinum for a 70th anniversary when I was born. You weren't expected to be around that long.
Typically dry.
Now, Bonnie Greer, before we get into probably slightly more incendiary territory with the royals, let's talk about the Queen for a moment, because I don't really care whether you're pro-monarchy, anti-monarchy in the world. You cannot but have respect for this woman who for 70 years has been on the throne, barely put a foot wrong in that entire time, and does exemplify the very things she talked about when she was 21, duty and service.
Well, you know, believe it or not, and good evening, everybody, believe it or not, my family was royalist. My mother certainly was. So I grew up with enormous respect for her. And if you know, what you may not have noticed, no one said it, the Queen's changed her accent. She doesn't talk the way she did as a child.
She's got less posh.
I agree. So exactly, that's my point. But my next point is that times have changed, and we need to change too, because she certainly has.
Well, I think that's a very good point. And Arthur, I think the whole future of the monarchy, when the Queen, sadly, the day comes when she's eventually not with us, is going to be a very, very crucial one.
It's very difficult.
Not just for Britain, but for the world, isn't it?
It is indeed. And Prince Charles has got a tough job, in fact, to keep it online and going. And of course, you know, many of the countries where the Queen is head of state will pull out. You know, I mean, I think certainly Australia will, maybe New Zealand, perhaps Canada, but it's going to be a change. But the Prince of Wales will cope with that. He said when we left Barbados last year, when they gave up the Queen, he said, well, it's what they want, and that's fair enough. So there will be changes, but and the Prince of Wales is already thinking about that. What he's going to do.
I think he'll be a much better king than some people seem to think.
I think so too. Yeah. He's a lovely man, and of course he's tireless. And if you think very much, Piers, he's a visionary. You know, when he was 25 years ago talking about organic food, and people were calling him crazy, and now every store you go into now has got organic food and complementary medicine, and everybody takes some sort of complementary medicine. And so, you know, he's a visionary, and I've followed him. And when I started doing this job, I didn't care less about what I was doing, just get pictures of anything. But slowly listening to him, the way he presented his speeches and the way he asked the people in Brazil and Malaysia not to rip up the rainforest and you know, the plastic in the sea, he fights for that.
Yeah, he does, and he's been ahead of his time on a number of these things. Katie, we're going to see on the balcony on Thursday morning, the Trooping the Colour, a streamlined royal lineup. You're not going to have Harry and Meghan or Andrew or the others who've been into dodgy territory in the last few years. You're going to have the main players.
Yep.
The Queen, and you have Charles and Camilla, and then you have Kate and William, and that's the line of succession right there.
But you don't forget, you're going to have the Duke of Kent, the Gloucesters, the Wessexes, Princess Anne.
It's really about the main event, isn't it?
It is, but it's interesting, Piers, because when you think back to the Diamond, and you'll remember this as well, it was very much about the streamlined royal family. It was just the Queen, the Cambridges, Charles and Camilla. So I think this is very important to the Queen, that she is having an opportunity to thank those that she calls my substitutes, the people who have stood in.
Well, the ones who've actually done the hard graft.
They put the hours
The ones
in.
the workers, if you count the number of duties, these are the ones who put the yards in. Two who won't be on the balcony but are coming in are Meghan and Harry. You've written a pretty robust and direct letter to them in tonight's Sun, in which you basically plead with them not to try and steal the limelight from the Queen.
Yeah, because if they publish a picture when the Queen meets Lilibet, that will wipe everything else out. You know, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I was talking to the editor tonight and saying that picture will just scream in, and everything the Queen's trying to achieve with this, you know, doing her very best to make appearances, and it would just go to pieces. And I just hope she doesn't turn up with a photographer to do that and put it out. And I don't think the Queen would allow it anyway.
How damaging have they been, those two, with their antics? I mean, I have a view that people know, but what do you think?
Well, the Oprah Winfrey interview was the thing that turned me off them immediately, because some of the lies in that were told, some of the untruths and misleading statements, certainly about Archie's colour, Archie's skin, you know. I mean, when that remark was made, it wasn't even engaged, it wasn't even talking about having a child, but the way it came across in the interview, it looked like it had been discussed while she was pregnant. I mean, but of course it wasn't. And then talking to people of mixed race, they say to me, they discuss if they were having a baby, what the colour, or if they, a Chinese couple I know, a lady married to a Chinese lady, they discuss it, would they have my eyes? And,
I think it all depends on the context. We've never been told the context. Bonnie, I know that you're a supporter of Meghan and Harry. My views are well known. Arthur shares those views about this. I felt from that interview onwards, they've been on a very strange journey where, for a couple that left the country for privacy, they've never stopped doing media stuff. For a couple who trash the monarchy and the institution, they keep using their royal titles to commercially benefit themselves to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. So I'm pretty cynical about what they've done. You think I'm wrong?
Well, you know, no, you're not wrong to be, if you want to be cynical. But I think what we're forgetting here is that this family is probably one of the most resilient PR exercises of at least the 20th century. Remember, they pulled off one of the biggest brand coups of the 20th century by changing their name from a German name to the name of their residence. They also pulled off another coup when around the funeral of the Princess of Wales. I mean, they've been changing all the time while giving people the illusion that they haven't. I mean, they're absolutely brilliant, and this will be handled too. I mean, I don't know why people are freaking out so much about this. This family exists and survives because it can adapt. And it's too bad that the people who support them don't know how to do that themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Arthur, if you go back over your time covering the royals, 4 decades, there have been a lot of big royal scandals. I mean, we feel like, because of social media, the Meghan and Harry antics and Prince Andrew and so on have been really big. But there have been, as we know from that documentary last night, the abdication of a king over a love affair.
I know.
Probably dwarfs any of this stuff.
That's right. And they went on to live in America, but they never dumped on the royal family, not once. They
never did,
quite,
did they?
No,
Well,
they
there were a fair few cashing-ins of
Well,
being
right.
their royal
But we are
affiliation.
now
There
with
were
American...
books
I hate to say this for
deals.
Bonnie here, but, you know, we are with American women now 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Right? We've had 2 of them come here,
Hang on,
marry
Piers,
up...
let me say something.
Yes.
No, they didn't come. They got married into the royal family, and it's true. That family, the Duke of Windsor and the Duchess of Windsor, cashed in. It is not even a comparison to what Meghan and Harry are doing.
Well,
Nothing.
but the point we were making was not about
nightclubs.
cashing in.
Listen, they were paid to go to nightclubs. They had all kinds of things.
Yeah,
come
dump
on.
the royal.
I don't think what they never did, Arthur said, which is true, they never attacked the royal family in public. And I would have no problem. I've got no problem with Meghan and Harry. If Meghan and Harry gave up their titles and just lived off being Meghan and Harry celebrities
Piers,
and stopped attacking the institution.
You're forgetting one thing. This guy gave up the crown.
Yeah.
He didn't have that was the coup de theatre right there. So he already attacked the royal family, okay? That was done and probably done for all time, okay?
Well, okay,
so
Katie,
he didn't have to do anything
listen,
else.
Bonnie,
He stepped down from the throne.
making good points, and I don't dispute them.
Thank you.
Katie,
Thank
I mean, this goes back to my point to Arthur. We have gone through, centuries of royal scandal. I mean, imagine if social media had been around with Henry VIII, right? Beheading his wives. I mean, it's all relative.
It's all relative, but I think it's the way the Queen has weathered these storms. I mean, look at the death of Diana and the way that almost, saw the tide really nearly turn against the Queen. She reined that back in. I spoke to someone for my new book who said to me, and this
excellent
was so
book, by the way, The New Royals.
Much.
Very good read.
This was so important. He said to me, the Queen has the most remarkable capacity for forgiveness. And I think that's what you're going to see with the Sussexes. She wants this Jubilee to be about her family.
Bonnie, come in.
I've met the Queen a couple of times, and I'll tell you one occasion I met her, which I thought was extraordinary. This was the reopening of Windsor Castle. Okay, this place had burned down. There were people in there smoking. Now, if that was my house, I would have said, hold it, cut it out. My place is already burned down. You people are lighting up cigarettes. That was when we were allowed, people were allowed to do that. She walks in, she walks around. You can't talk to her. You have to be taken over to her. And then she deigns to speak. Walking through people's smoke, everything, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about her at all.
I mean, nothing flusters the Queen, certainly not in public.
So. I don't think
Arthur,
so.
I wanted to show you a picture. This is Stonehenge, which they lit up with 8 images beamed onto Stonehenge of the Queen through the years. I thought this was a wonderful idea, didn't you?
Yeah, I did too. But I've had a print made today, one of my favourite pictures of the Queen. I'm going to put up in the window of my house tonight. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Everywhere, it's...
What's your favourite memory of the Queen, personally?
Oh, personally, well, when she gave me my MBE, when she said, I can't believe I'm giving you this, she said as she gave it to me, and then she said, how long have you been coming down here to photograph me? I said, I was 20 years ago. I said, 27 years, ma'am. She said, oh, well, let's have our picture taken together. Oh, that was really lovely.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that really was moving. I've never forgotten that. And funny, as I walked away, Prince Andrew came up to me. He said, oh, what did you get? I said, MBE. He said, what does that stand for? I said, much bigger, expensive.
Arthur, it's a privilege to have you. You're one of the all-time great royal photographers, and you still do it. And I won't ask you how old you are, but I know, and it's amazing, the energy and drive you still have for your craft. And thank God you do.
Well, it's a nice job and nice people. I work with lovely people, so...
Royal tours are always the most fun with Arthur.
Of course. Everything's more fun with Arthur. Katie, thank you very much. The New Royals is out now. Queen Elizabeth's Legacy.
In November.
The Crown. In November, I'm sorry.
It's coming out. You got it first.
In November. First early copy. OK, cool. And Bonnie Greer, thank you very much indeed. That was quite civilised for us, I thought. No comment from Bonnie. She's not agreeing or otherwise.
I did not. No, no. It was civilised because at the end of the day, they're going to come anyway. So that's that. That's that. And it'll all be over.
Bonnie, great to see you. Come back soon.
Thank you, Piers. Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Uncensored next, legendary jockey Frankie Dettori on Her Majesty's love of horses. That's coming up.
This is Talk TV.
The Queen's love of horse racing is well known, and this summer legendary jockey Frankie Dettori has set his sights firmly on riding a Royal Ascot winner for Her Majesty. The Italian joined me to reflect on riding 50 winners for the monarch over the last 30 years. Frankie, good evening to you.
Hi, Piers.
I want to start, Frankie.
The first one won, and now...
I just want to say...
now I'm waiting for my last one.
Oh, did you win the last one?
No, I won the first one, but now I'm going to ride the next one in the next 20 minutes.
Well,
so
the normal pattern, as you know, Frankie, is that whenever I bet on you to win, you always lose. And when I don't bet on you to win, you always win.
Stop betting on me. Stop betting on me, Piers.
Frankie, I know that you and the Queen are very close. You've ridden so many rides for her. You've won so many races for her. She loves the horse racing. And obviously today is a bittersweet day because we had all these amazing celebrations. And I was hoping to just talk about that with you. But we can't ignore the breaking news, which is that she's had some discomfort tonight and she won't be attending the Thanksgiving service at St Paul's Cathedral tomorrow. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, when you look at the Queen's schedule this next 3 or 4 days, I mean, it's really so much. We forget that, you know, she's a great old age of 96, and she's also, I think she's going to miss the Derby on Saturday. That is probably the first time in over 50 years. But, you know, we all wished well, and just perhaps, you know, just pace herself a little bit. It's very easy for us to say, but I think we asked a lot from her.
Yeah, and I think there were genuine concerns. She may not have made any of the Jubilee celebrations. I was told by somebody very close to the Royals about 6 weeks ago, they were really worried about it. So the fact she was able to be on the balcony today, I think, was huge. She will obviously miss the Derby. You're racing the Derby. In fact, I think you were due to be on one of the Queen's horses, but the horse got pulled. Is that right?
Yes, unfortunately, the horse said minor setback. He's not going to make it. But you know, it was great to see Her Majesty on the balcony smiling with all her family, and you know, we wish her well. And you know, it's going to be an amazing Platinum Jubilee, and we're going to go ahead and race the Derby. I'm sure she's going to watch it on TV, and we're going to try to give Her Majesty a great spectrum of horse racing, because what she loves very much.
One of my favourite stories, Frankie, involved you, the Queen, and the late, great Lester Piggott, who very sadly died several days ago, one of the all-time great jockeys like you are. And it involved the King George VI, where I think you got a little above yourself, didn't you? And you boasted to the Queen that you'd won it 4 times, and she replied, "That's nothing. Lester won it 7 times."
Correct. When I went up to the podium to pick up the trophy, and I said, "Oh, Your Majesty, I won it 4 times." And she looked at me, "Well, Lester won it 7 times." And went, get back in your box. She's got a great sense of humour, and you know, as you know, she loves racing, Royal Ascot, the Derby, all that. So you know, she's been a great ambassador for my sport.
And just a word about Lester Piggott, because he was an amazing jockey. He was an irascible, uncompromising, courageous, you know, very individual kind of character, but an amazing story where he ended up going to prison for tax evasion issues, and then he made his comeback, age 55, and he won the Breeders' Cup in America at 55. In racing terms, how big a deal was that, Frankie?
I was in that race. Actually, unfortunately, when I started riding, Lester already retired. He had 5 years off racing, and a couple of those years he spent in prison, and then after 12 days he came back from riding, goes to New York and wins the Breeders' Cup, one of the biggest races in the world. A 54-year-old man. He was an amazing man. And don't forget, we're going to race the Derby in memory of him on Saturday, and he's won the Kazoo Epsom Derby 9 times. What an amazing man, and that record would never be beaten.
Yeah, an amazing guy, great character. Let's talk about you and the Queen,
now, Piers,
Frankie. Sorry?
Listen, Piers, I must stop you because my horses are here and I have to go to ride the next race. So I wish you all the best.
Frankie,
I wish I could talk to you a bit longer.
Go win it and go win it. Go win it for the Queen, even though it's not a Queen's horse. Go win it for the Queen and dedicate your win to the Queen. Thank you for taking time in between races.
Take care.
Go get them, Frankie. All the best.
Thank you.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Well, today's tribute to colour was British pomp and pageantry at its very best. 1,400 parading soldiers, 400 musicians, 200 horses and thousands of royal superfans lining the Mall. And I'm joined now by Captain Jonathan Brooks of the King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery, who was present on Horse Guards Parade today and then fired the 41-gun salute from Hyde Park. Captain, thank you so much for joining me after your extraordinary day. It's the first proper tribute in the colour you've done in front of all the crowds. First question, what was it like?
I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, I managed to do the Tribute in the Colour last year at Windsor Castle, but this year was spectacular. It really felt like a moment in history with the crowds absolutely packing the Mall. The royal family there in full force. It was simply spectacular. And of course, the Tribute in the Colour is, you know, for several hundred years now, has celebrated the Queen's birthday or the monarch's birthday of the time. What does it mean to you as a serving member of the armed forces to be honouring the Queen, the head of the armed forces, in this way? I mean, it's a tremendous privilege. She is a huge inspiration to all of us. She puts duty ahead of everything else, and she really, for us, essentially feels at the heart of the nation. So to be able to be there and be a big part of marking this historic occasion and hopefully making her proud is unbeatable, really. The crowds were huge. They were really exuberant today. There's a lot of patriotism and flag waving and joy in the air. After all we've been through as a country in recent years, it was a really lovely day to just say we're British, we're great, we're proud of our country and we're proud of our Queen. Yeah, we do pomp and ceremony, you know, out the best in the world. We are top of the game when it comes to pomp and ceremony, and the public were really behind us. They were quite funny going down the Mall. Every time our trumpeters blew a trumpet call, they absolutely loved it, and you know, that put a big smile on our faces. Although we had to try not to smile, but you know, they were superb, and it was great to see everyone there. And to your credit, none of you fainted in the heat, I hear. No, we managed to survive the heat. It was a hot day. We were praying for some merciless cloud cover, but it does look spectacular, Horse Guards Parade in the sun, so I'm glad that the sun came out for us. Yeah, it was fantastic, and you guys did a great job, and the RAF were fantastic as well. It was a brilliant... I was there right at Buckingham Palace, and it was really the pomp, the pageantry, the military, all of it coming together with the royal family. What a wonderful day it was, and I thank you and all your colleagues, well, for what you did today, but also for your service to your country. Thank you very much, Captain Brooks. Oh, cheers. Thanks very much, Piers. Uncensored next. He's a vibrant alternative national hero thanks to his outspoken and honest statements. He's also about as uncensored as a human being can get. Former Sex Pistols frontman John Lydon, a.k.a. Johnny Rotten, will be here live and very much unleashed after the break.
Oh, the Sex Pistols, one of the all-time great anarchic bands. You can listen to that all day. Fortunately, we've got one of the men behind it. Johnny Rotten, John Lydon, the great man, here live.
Peace.
Unleashed, great to see you. We're going to be doing a regular catch-up with you called Johnny's Rotten World, because the last time he came on, it popped so well on YouTube. Everyone was watching this. They love your unvarnished, uncensored view of life.
Well, I like to tell it as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not influenced by the media.
Yeah.
But they are very seriously influenced by me.
Yes. You've just come, you're rehearsing with your new band Pill today in London.
Yeah, I'm straight out of rehearsal, so forgive me if I look a bit sweaty and moist. The girlies apparently like it that way.
Can I ask you about politics for a moment? Because you said something quite interesting in the last few days. You talked about how it used to be the right that was seen to be the completely intolerant fascists who never allowed people to have different opinions and so on. And now it's gone full circle.
Oh, it's absolutely.
To the left.
Swings and roundabouts now, isn't it? I can't trust anything coming out of Labour anymore. I've begun to despise them.
Really?
Yeah, it's too... this woke agenda and all of this nonsense. I can't be tolerating that. You know, I'd rather vote Conservative because at least I can rely on their hypocrisy, but I don't want to vote for lunacy. It's plain and simple.
When you see the debate over Boris Johnson and these parties, really at the core of it, it's just that they were all partying in Downing Street when they were telling everybody else, you can't go and see your dying relatives in hospital.
That white man speak with forked tongue, you know?
Do you think he's a liar, Boris?
Oh, completely. See, you know, if you're going to write these laws in and insist on them and then deliberately go and break them yourself, well, that kind of hypocrisy is just a little unfeasible for me. So sod him, you know. He's like all politicians, really, a professional liar. But, by God, that bloke Bone you had on there defending him, wow, what a piece of work. He reminded me of that old Tory kind of creature that I used to really, really hate and loathe. So... You know, get rid of both of them and things might be on the lookup. But on top of that, I would like a Prime Minister that is capable of partying, but then don't be introducing laws that you're not going to follow yourself and expect the rest of us to oblige to that.
It's the hypocrisy is the problem. Right?
Ah, it's wicked. Wicked. I wish I was at that party, though.
I think you'd have livened it up. What do you mean? We're in, obviously, Jubilee week, and God Save the Queen was this iconic anthem at the time. It was all about anarchy and so on. You've softened a little bit over the years. Is that right? Say about the Queen in particular?
No, this is the media again trying to take the detonation out of the H-bomb I dropped on that song. I'm as solid about monarchy and my dislike of it as I ever have been. To me, I've always viewed the royal family as a bunch of German and tourists with a Greek thrown in, you know. But as a human being, right, she ain't a human being as representing a state. She doesn't represent me. I don't want to pay no more tax to keep that institution alive. But I totally respect her as a real person, that she has endured that and maintained, yes, a sense of dignity in it. And I'm always attracted to pageantry. Just as, you know, I grew up loving the Arsenal, and if we weren't waving our flags, that's as close to pageantry as you can get.
There's also something, I just think when you look at the way politics has gone around the world, really, it's so much corruption, so much hypocrisy, so much... You know, really incredible characters getting to run countries. And you think, at least in the Queen's case, you've got this woman who's barely put her foot wrong. She's dignified, she's humble.
And so I respect all of that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost, if you just view her as a sort of calming figurehead for the country, she's been one of the most impressive people that we've ever had, I would say.
Yeah, but God bless, if she kicks the bucket, what's going to follow?
Well, that is a genuine problem. I mean, tonight we had the Archbishop of Canterbury saying that, for example, we should now be looking to forgive people like Prince Andrew, that he's shown that he wants to make amends for what he did. But my issue with that...
Well, first of all, find him guilty before you forgive.
Right.
And the Archbishop of Canterbury, I mean, I'm sorry, but that has the ring of child molester about it.
You mean in terms of the way the church...
The church, all of these institutions. And, of course, they all cover themselves up. But, as I say, first find him guilty of something. It's obviously he's hiding something. I don't trust him.
And when you have the Queen's son who pays millions of dollars to a woman who was accusing him of having, in America, underage sex with her and being involved in sex trafficking with a paedophile. When he does that, having said, I'm going to fight this and clear my name, even though he didn't, even though there was no guilt attached to this settlement, the fact he's had to pay millions of dollars, what does it say?
A settlement is telling you everything. It's almost like a bribe to go away, isn't it? Now, the poor lady in question, I mean, she knew what they'd like. They'd rip her apart in court, is basically, you know, so take this cash underhand. It's victimisation again, and if that's going on in the future royal family, I don't want none of them.
Can you forgive somebody in this circumstance if they don't accept what they did? When we don't even know what he actually did, because he won't say. Can you offer forgiveness if people don't show any atonement for what they may have done?
No, there's a holier-than-thou about it that I just won't be tolerating. There's something there. Just bring it out, wash your dirty laundry in public, and let us be the judge of that. Right? Not underhand deals going on. This is a continual world they're introducing us into, isn't it? Complete corruption. Well, I'd like to see a brave new world.
I do think it's caused uncalculable damage to the royals, because I think that we've never had a situation where the senior royal has been involved in a settlement like this. And it's not like it was a sort of financial issue.
I think we have seen royals in the past histories are definitely involved in all manner of...
I think in modern times is what I would say. And it's a serious matter. You know, Jeffrey Epstein was a disgusting billionaire paedophile.
Not to be treated lightly.
No, not at all. And my real issue with it is that Andrew carried on seeing that guy after he admitted and was convicted of paedophile behaviour.
Yeah, and there's all manner of money laundering possibilities lurking in the background.
Right.
That too.
Like, why did he carry on being his friend? You know,
this is my taxpayer money. It's that's being spent.
Right.
You know, bugger off.
Right. No, but I think that's a legitimate reaction that most people have to it. What do you think about the Jubilee celebrations? Are you going to get involved? Are you going to be in a street party? Are we going to see the man who sang God Save the Queen singing it with love and affection?
Why not? I love the party side of it, right?
Yeah.
And
the pageantry and everything.
The pageantry and the flag waving and being part of a wonderful bloody country. They've got no shame, but plenty of pride about Britain, and I'll wave the flag any way I like, safety pins included.
Do we talk down the country too much, John?
I think so. I do. That lady's done no personal harm to me. The institution has, and it's obviously riddled with corruption. You know, I just pity what comes after her. I've got no hope for it. I think we should really start voting on a new queen.
Really?
Yeah, let's have an election.
Who would you fancy, Meghan Markle?
Oh, someone from Australia.
I want to ask you about something else. Top Gun. So I got very excited yesterday about Top Gun. I went to see Top Gun. I loved the new movie. I loved the first one. And to me, it restored masculinity and being a man.
Yes.
Do you see anything in this?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a shortage of modern war movies, right? And you do need those kind of characters, really, if your country's going to survive any threats of invasion. You need proper blokes to sort it out. And trying to sweep that under the carpet with this new era of woke is unacceptable to me. We need men's men. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
And this is this idea that masculinity itself is wrong.
Oh, toxic.
Yeah, it's all toxic.
Yeah, I'll have a vodka and toxic masculinity, please.
Yeah, but it does annoy me. Because, of course, there are some men who are toxic. But there are also many men who can show masculine qualities, which actually not only are good qualities, but women like men to be masculine.
Because that's human nature.
Right.
Right? And to go against nature really shows like a major flaw and a weakness in the idiocy that's coming from extreme left politics. I find it very, very alarming that young students are so quick to jump on this, like, name slurry business without really thinking the thing through.
But also, I think the idea that students...
But they're all dressed as men and women themselves.
Yeah,
but they're arguing against
But this
it.
idea that a minister can go there who's only said that he believes a woman is an adult female, and for that he has to be hounded with abuse. Because you actually have Labour MPs now, women MPs, saying, actually, women can have penises.
Well, of course they can. That's how you get babies.
But I sort of feel the world's gone mad a bit.
If you're working against nature because of some new political fandangled theory, then you're a bit of a fool. And I'm afraid the young are very, very foolish in this, and I must say not all young. Just those who've gone through the university systems. They seem to not be educated anymore. They're really institutionalised.
I want to play... We do a little segment called World's Gone...
Most of them should be in an institution.
we do a regular thing called World's Gone Nuts. I think you're going to like this story, John, because this is actually something we normally do at the end of the show. I'm going to play it now. Watch this. The World's Gone Nuts! Now, this is a love story that might not take off. It involves 22-year-old Sarah Roeder, who lives in Dortmund, Germany, and she's announced that she's in love with a Boeing 737 passenger jet and has plans to wed said jet. The future Mrs. 737 identifies as an objectum sexual, meaning she's attracted to inanimate objects and has 50 replicas of the flying love machine. Unsurprisingly, it's not legal to actually marry a replica aircraft in Germany, but neither the law nor common sense to stop other people from doing things like this. In 2007, Erica Labry married the Eiffel Tower, changing her last name to Eiffel. And Kate Cunningham has been happily married to a tree for nearly 3 years. But true love never does run smoothly. Poor Akihiko Kondo, who married a hologram character, has been left devastated after the expiration of the software meant he could no longer talk to his wife. John, when you look at stuff like this, in a way, it's a kind of wonderful thing that there are people this mad out there, right?
I think so, and I find that entertaining. But the shocking one, really, for me, was the girl fondling the 747 model. I mean, that's one up on a battery-operated penis, isn't it? And God bless her, if that's what turns her on and rings her bell, you know. Bong.
John, I could talk to you all night. Fortunately, we've only got to wait 2 weeks till you're back on. It's been brilliant to have you on Piers Morgan Uncensored. You are as uncensored as it gets. And thank God for somebody who just speaks their mind and doesn't care what all you cancel culture wokies say, because you can't cancel a Sex Pistol, right?
You certainly can't. And I'm on tour with Public Image Limited to prove it. Y'all come on down now. Shut your mouth. Yes, sir. Everyone a winner.
John Lydon, brilliant to see you.
Bye-bye from my man breasts.
We will have Johnny's Rotten World every 2 weeks from now on, because I cannot interview this guy enough. This is what we want in life. Plain talking. Straight talking.
It's
uncensored.
It's so easy to just tell the truth.
Isn't it? It is. And yet it's not easy for a lot of people. And I thank God people like you are doing it, and I'll do it too. And hopefully we'll put the world to right. Good to see you, John.
Well, one last thing on Boris. Rules are for fools, and he's proved the point by breaking his own.
I think that probably perfectly sums it up. That's it from me. Whatever you get up to this weekend, make sure it's uncensored. Good night.
Saint What gets too much airtime? Bland, beige, unopinionated dross. I think the British public want to be able to be of an opinion, want to be able to be involved. That's the great thing for me about Talk TV. People will be able to get involved. I just think that we misjudge the British public if we tell them the whole time what they should be thinking. I am sick and tired of watching television that tells you what you should be thinking, talks at you rather than with you.
This is Talk TV News.
Good evening, I'm Holly Hudson. The Queen will not attend the Epsom Derby tomorrow. Instead, Buckingham Palace announced that she will watch the races, which are part of her Platinum Jubilee celebrations, on TV at Windsor Castle, with Princess Anne expected to take her place. It comes after Her Majesty was forced to pull out of today's Thanksgiving service due to what the palace called discomfort during yesterday's celebrations. The service at St Paul's Cathedral was attended by senior royals and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who made their first public appearance in the UK in 2 years. And UEFA has issued what it calls a sincere apology to fans following the chaos at last week's Champions League final. In a statement, they said no football fan should be put in that situation. That's all for now. We'll have more after the talk.